What's going on, guys? Man Cave here, and we are in the first budget build part. Granted, I showed you guys the first one, which was the freebies. And in case you guys missed that, it was the 1.9 crawler TAs that came with the kit on the BlackRock, which I know in the unboxing video I said trail readies. They're not trail readies, they're BlackRock wheels, but I had the OMFs, you guys know, from the Dodge. So super soft foams inside of those. That was a freebie. And what you guys haven't seen also is all the scale stuff that I've thrown in there. I've got 2 Coke cans sitting in the console, 4 cases of beer in the back, because what kind of Jeep is headed off-road for a party without beer? We've got a battery, little generator, air tank, and a little bundle of firewood and a cooler. But those were freebies too, because I had those laying around. What we're going to break into is the first actual parts that were paid for that we're going to do. And this is going to be the front steering link and the rear 4-link truss, which is going to come into play later on. Now these are fresh in from level 3. We've got them today. And like any redneck, you've got to have a good envelope opener. I skinned a deer with that a few days ago, so I know it's sharp. So inside the package we have, toss that out of the way, we've got our front steering link, which is the flat bar versus the weird funny one. So we've got our front steering link, and then we have our elevated 4-link truss mount, which it comes with all new hardware to mount everything in. And what it's going to do is it's going to put our 4-link at a much different angle than the stock. We all know the stock trusses are pretty much just straight up and down. But the stock truss in the rear is not going to go to waste. That already has a purpose that's going to be utilized on the front for a later upgrade that I plan on doing. You guys already saw that I flipped the battery around. The battery is now in the front, electronics tray is in the rear. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen up this the stock links. And since we're going to do all this in real time rather than, oh well, here, it's just done. I'm going to show you actually how to put everything together. So first step, obviously, is removing the stock 4-link mount, which might be a little bit of a pain in the butt. My good pliers are currently being used. Get that out of the way, we can go ahead and start sliding that out. Get our stock bolt out of the way. Let's freeze up our links. Now we need to remove the 4-link truss, we've got to take the 2 screws that hold it in place out. And that one fell to the floor, but it's no big deal, I can grab that later. Okay, so there's the threaded ones. Now we need to get the permanent ones that go through the back of the axle in. So we've got to take out these 2 upper screws here. And then we should be golden to take that all apart. So, with that apart, here's our stock 4-link truss, which is going to, like I said, I'm not throwing it out, it will be utilized. Now, this is going to be a learning curve for me because I've never used the level RC or level 3 kit before. So I can already tell that we're going to have to use longer bolts than the stockers, which is why they give you little shims. Not shims, rather, but spacers. We can get this pesky little bolt out of the back here. I'm looking at all the hardware they give. They give you a new rear link. Basically, they give you a bunch of new stuff. So I'm going to go with the two that I know are going to fit that link. And then we've got two, of course, with spacers. And they're all varying lengths, so this might be a trial and error process because that does stick out very, very far. We're going to see sticking that through there and then sticking this piece onto the backside if that moves it where it needs to go. Probably should have took the frickin' axle off to do this, but or at least undone the shocks. And get the rear links out of the way too. Get this plate to line up just right. Sorry if the camera angle sucks, I'm just trying to get the everything lined up here and how it's going to fit in right. Okay, so that's sitting like that. Now I'd imagine that you just tighten this bolt up here and it runs in. That looks about right, because now that's gonna move everything. Ah, I see what I did. Dummy, I put it on backwards. Sometimes you screw up because you don't know which way is right. So I'm betting now that it needs a nylock, or the nylock side faces the opposite direction. I probably should have researched ahead of time and oh, look at that. That pops right into place now. Okay, so we're going to try, once again, running one of these longer ones through. I don't know if a stock one would fit it. I'd be surprised, but I've been surprised before. We're actually going to try to put a stock bolt back in, which, no, doesn't reach. Because you do need to put a nylock nut on it. So, nylock out of the way. We'll run a slightly longer one through, which appears to give the clearance needed. And you know what? This just ain't doing it, so we're gonna actually go as far as unbolting the shocks too. That way the axle can just spin around. Should have done that from the start, but I was trying to minimize tear down. So now, there, we got a better unobstructed view. The only thing holding it in the way now is links, lower links. But with the shocks loose, we can actually flip the upper links outside of the lower links. And we're going to use a couple tires here laying around just to hold everything up, which has you guys almost right in a good view. I mean, as good as can be. So we run that through there. I guarantee this thing takes nylocks. So we're going to crank this one down. If I can get the nylock in there. Started. Now it's just spinning right now, so that's Let's gonna see if we can bring in a 5.5 mil driver. I've got a bad feeling though that we're gonna have to completely disassemble the rear axle to do this. Because I cannot get a 5.5 mil driver around it, but I can get a pair of pliers on it, hopefully. Okay, so pliers are on. Well, was on. Get that in there and get it started. Okay, so there's half of it on. Now we're going to take our other upper mount, run that through there, start it with an eye lock. Get it started. My hands are always in the way of everything. Get my pliers locked on and get this one started and in. Okay, so there's the bracket now onto the axle. We're going to bring our link over here and see, now that I can reuse. Nope, they want you to use through hardware. Interesting. And the hardware they give you is very, very long. But I'm going to run this through here and see how long it... Yeah, that's ridiculously long. And they only get larger from there. So, when in doubt, go to your parts bin. Spare screws, always a plus. Look through and we're going to find a pair of, hopefully, button heads. Okay, so that looks like a longer one to me, but still not long enough to thread. Maybe we could find one in black. That one's probably no longer than the one that I just put in. Nope, that one actually gives you enough to thread on. So there's the size I need. That one's way too freaking long. Same threading, but just longer. The fun. I tried to have everything as prepared as possible, and sometimes you just encounter situations like I ran into right now. So with that done, found a couple that'll fit. Now we're going to reattach our links, which now sit on an angle. It's actually taking and twisting the plastic, which I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or not. 9 times out of 10 when you're twisting plastic, that's not a good thing to do. So we'll just take another M3. Tighten her down. And then we'll take our last upper link, move it around, and get our bolt started, and I'm going to get this link twisted into place and push through. Come on. If you would just line up and be nice, play along. So you guys aren't used to seeing me doing videos like this where I'm actually having to fight things. You guys just usually see the start and then you see it finished. So I figured for 2015, trying new methods, I wanted to do the whole process. So the struggles, the triumphs. And it fits through that no problem, so I don't know why the hell it's binding and going in, but I got her. So we're going to use another nylock. And the beauty is it's sitting right over a cross member, so I cannot get direct access to it without lift. So we're going to drop our driver in wherever we can to get down onto it. It does take a larger, slightly larger bit. But there's the general gist of it. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our shocks back together. Reuse our stock bracketry, well, stock hardware. And I believe this was in the center hole, so we're going to move it up one to the very first hole to give it a little bit of a forward angle. As I've said before too in previous videos, the most crucial thing to have is a good cordless drill driver when you're running in all these fasteners. I mean, it saves on your hands a million times over. And I think I only paid maybe, I think it was $39.99 for this driver. And it is an impacting one. It's got various torque range settings on it. It's a Black & Decker lithium smart driver. So now we can see we have our links that are realigned, but since they're plastic, it's actually causing the suspension to bind a little. That's fine because we'll address that situation later on. So we've got the rear link kit on. While we're at it, we might as well go ahead, and since we did away with the stock, moving all stock hardware out of the way, we're going to jump in here and we're going to put our level 3 steering bar on. And that'll finish up our wow, first time ever I've seen an axial with Phillips screws. That caught me by surprise. The stock ones going in here are all Phillips. So bear with me for 1 second, folks. I know this video is already ridiculously long.
This week on Geico's Stuff Found in Your Car, we look inside your rear door. Oh, hey, yeah, me, the almond. Possibly one of the healthiest snacks, just rolling around in the crumbs of inferior adults.
Had to grab a screwdriver off of the Grizzly over there. So we're taking that out. See that? That's a pin mount style there. Take that one out. So our steering link is almost removed. We just gotta remove the center drag link, get that off. Once again, remove the hardware out of that. Now our level 3 bar. We're going to put that in place. And luckily, we're using 2mm hardware, so out to the outside hole. Get that down. Rotate it around. Get it to mate up to our other one, and we're going to drive in the other screw. once again going to the outside hole. Now these ones are longer, and the beautiful part about this is you can flip over once you've already got it screwed in. This one actually supplies M3 nylocks. You can take a 5.5 mil driver since it's already screwed into the plastic, and you can just hand tighten it down, no problem. So I'm noticing right now that the steering is very, very tight. So I might just actually back it off a little bit and then back my bolt up a little bit, but just backing off that M3 right there made it a little bit easier to turn. I am, however, just going to back off the main screw just a hair to loosen things up. So same process here on the other side. Run your M3 down on it. We're going to leave a little bit of space in between it so I can back it off. And now we're back to super smooth steering. The only thing left now is to reattach our drag link, which is now going to be relocated on a higher angle using the last new bolt that they give you. I'm going to run that through. We're going to line up which hole is straight, which is going to be the first one out of these two here. We're also going to install this new spacer that they gave us. Get that lined up to the bottom side, and this one, when we attach the nylock, is going to be straight on tight. So now we have our aluminum steering link up front. So that right there, folks, is the Level 3 Racing rear shock truss, which is a little different than stock. It kind of puts it out there. And then up front, we've got our new aluminum steering bar. And as always, you keep all your stock parts in case you do have a malfunction on the trails. I've had to resort to using stock hardware many times just to get me through an event or whatever. So once all that's done, that's pretty much it for this week's $50 and under budget. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's extremely long, but you guys wanted the tutorial videos back, so you're getting them. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, like, and share. And we'll see you next week with another installment of the Casey Currie JK $50 a week budget build. Later, guys.